If anyone had told me that my life would unravel because of spilled coffee and a pop star's laugh, I would have laughed in their face. But here I am, standing in the middle of Manhattan, drenched in regret and Starbucks espresso, while the most famous voice in America looks at me like I've ruined his entire existence. It all started with my first day as an intern at one of the most powerful music labels in New York. I wasn't supposed to speak unless spoken to, and I definitely wasn't supposed to collide headfirst into the company's golden boy, a platinum-selling artist whose face was plastered on every billboard in Times Square. Yet destiny clearly had other plans for me, cruel as it was. His name was Adrian Cole. To the rest of the country, he was untouchable, the kind of star who made stadiums tremble with his voice. But to me, in that absurd moment, he was just a guy glaring at me with almond-shaped eyes that were as sharp as they were magnetic. I muttered apologies, scrambling to pick up the mess of papers. His lyric sheets, now soaking in latte. He didn't speak at first, and the silence burned holes through me. Then, finally, his lips curled, not into anger but something worse, something mocking. "You planning to audition for a circus, kid?" he asked, voice smooth but cutting. I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. Instead, I whispered, "Sorry, sir." He arched an eyebrow, almost amused, and for the briefest second, I saw it something raw, lonely, flickering behind his superstar mask. And then it was gone, replaced by arrogance. That was my introduction to the man whose orbit I would unwillingly be pulled into. Days blurred into late nights of running errands, answering phones, making coffee, without spilling it, thank God. Yet no matter how hard I tried to blend into the shadows, Adrian had a way of dragging me into his light, or maybe his storm. He teased me whenever he could, sometimes cruelly, sometimes playfully, as if testing the limits of how much I could take. But then, there were stolen glances, softer words that confused me. Like the night I found him alone in the studio, staring at unfinished lyrics. His usual armor of sarcasm was stripped away, and he looked lost. I should have walked away. Instead, I asked softly, "Are you okay?" He didn't answer right away, just kept strumming his guitar, the melody achingly tender. Then his voice broke the silence. "Do you ever feel like the whole world loves you, but you still can't find someone who actually sees you?" My chest tightened. Maybe it was the exhaustion of unpaid hours. Maybe it was the way his voice trembled, but I said the truth. Maybe you just haven't met the right person yet. For a heartbeat, his eyes locked on mine, and it was as though Manhattan itself had fallen away, leaving just the two of us suspended in the quiet. From that night, something shifted. Adrian started seeking me out not with the biting cruelty he first used, but with questions, conversations, moments that felt too close, too dangerous. He'd ask about my dreams, my fears, things no one in their right mind would ask an intern. And when he laughed, genuinely laughed, it wasn't the polished sound fans screamed for. It was raw, boyish, and it made my heart stumble in ways I wasn't ready for. Still, this was New York, and New York devours foolish dreams and tender hearts. The rumors started. Whispers in the hallways, mocking looks from other staff. Why was Adrian Cole suddenly so interested in the nobody intern? The pressure grew heavier, and every time I caught sight of paparazzi lurking outside, dread twisted inside me. I wasn't ready to be anyone's scandal. But the real danger wasn't the tabloids. It was my own heart. One night, after a grueling recording session, Adrian pulled me out onto the rooftop. The city was alive below us, lights blinking like a million restless stars. He leaned against the railing, his silhouette outlined by the glow of skyscrapers. "You ever think about how small we are?" he murmured, eyes lost in the horizon. "And yet somehow, it feels like the choices we make could burn the whole damn world down." I stood beside him, the night air cool against my skin. I should have stayed silent. Instead, I whispered, "Maybe some fires are worth it." The way he looked at me then, like I wasn't just an intern, like I was something dangerous, something precious, terrified me. Because I knew. I was already burning. The night after that rooftop confession, everything unraveled faster than I could hold together. Adrian and I had crossed an invisible line, one that was never supposed to exist between a star and his intern. But desire has a way of mocking rules. It started with his hand brushing mine when no one was looking. Then the late-night studio sessions, where his songs suddenly sounded like secrets meant only for me. I knew it was dangerous. I knew I should have pulled away, but my heart had already chosen him. And of course, the world noticed. The tabloids snapped a photo of us leaving the building together, his hand lingering a little too close to mine. Headlines screamed across every social feed the next morning. Adrian Cole's secret relationship? Mystery intern spotted by his side. By noon, my supervisor called me in. Her voice was sharp, her eyes colder than glass. "You're not here to play games, boy. Stay away from him. Or pack your things." I walked out of her office with my chest hollow, the threat echoing in my head. I wanted to protect this fragile thing between us, but the power imbalance was brutal. He was the star. I was nobody. If anyone got destroyed, it would be me. That night, I avoided him. I hid in the copy room, in stairwells, anywhere his gaze couldn't find me. But fate cruel, relentless wasn't done. I pushed open the stairwell door, and there he was, leaning against the wall like he had been waiting for me all along. "You're avoiding me," Adrian said, his voice lower than usual, strained. "I'm protecting you," I whispered, eyes fixed on the floor. He laughed bitterly. "Protecting me? I've been in this industry since I was 17. I don't need protection. What I need is someone who doesn't look at me like a brand, like a paycheck. Do you get that? That's you." My throat tightened. "And what happens when the world finds out? What happens to me then?" For a moment, the silence stretched. Then his hand cupped my face, gentle but fierce. "Then we burn. Together." I wanted to fight him. I wanted to push him away. But instead, I kissed him. Because the truth was written in my bones, I couldn't let him go. The weeks that followed were a blur of stolen moments and hidden touches. I'd memorized the way his laughter cracked open his chest, the way he looked at me like I was a song he'd been chasing his entire career. For the first time in my life, I felt chosen. But happiness has a timer in this world. One morning, the headlines shifted. Someone had leaked photos of us on the rooftop, my hand gripping his jacket, our faces dangerously close. The internet exploded, and by noon, I was summoned again, not to my supervisor, but to the CEO himself. His office smelled of leather and power. He didn't waste words. "You're done here. Effective immediately." I left the building with my heart in pieces, my future shattered. The city felt colder than ever, its noise a cruel reminder that I was nothing but dust in Adrian's orbit. I didn't answer his calls that night, or the next. I thought I was doing the noble thing, letting him focus on his career, his fans, his empire. What was I compared to all of that? But love doesn't let go quietly. 3 days later, there was a knock on my apartment door. When I opened it, Adrian stood there, hood up, sunglasses on, out of breath like he'd run across the whole city. He pushed inside before I could speak. "You think you get to decide for both of us?" His voice cracked with anger. "You think walking away protects me? It just breaks me." My tears betrayed me. "I don't want to be your mistake. You're not." His words were sharp, desperate. Then he pulled me into his arms, holding me so tightly I thought the world might disappear. "You're the only real thing I've got." But love wasn't enough to stop the storm. The label threatened to suspend him. Fans split into chaos, some defending, others condemning. My name was dragged through forums, my social media flooded with hate. Every cruel word carved deeper into me until I could barely breathe. One night, when the weight was too heavy, I told him we needed to end it for good. His reaction was nothing I expected. He didn't yell. He didn't beg. He just stared at me with eyes so full of hurt I almost collapsed. "If you walk away, I'll still write about you. Every song will be about you. And the world will hear you in me." And then he left. Weeks passed. I tried to return to normal, but every time the radio played his voice, my chest cracked open. Then, one Friday night, I made the mistake of watching his live concert on TV. Midway through the set, he stopped. He looked out at the screaming crowd, his hand gripping the mic like it was the only thing keeping him upright. There's a song I've been working on, he said. It's not polished. It's not for the charts. It's for someone who made me believe love could be more than a headline. And then he sang. The lyrics were raw, unfinished, but I knew every word was for me. It was a confession in front of thousands, maybe millions. He had just set fire to his world, and all for a boy who thought he was nothing. By the time the last note faded, I was already out the door. I found him backstage, breathless, exhausted, but still burning with that same fire. He looked at me like I was both the problem and the cure. You're insane, I whispered, tears streaming. Then be insane with me, he said. And I did. I walked into his arms, into the chaos, into the fire. Because sometimes love isn't about safety or logic, it's about choosing each other, even when the world tells you not to. Months later, the noise quieted. The label threatened but eventually backed down, because Adrian's music sold more than ever. Fans adapted, some even celebrated. Life wasn't easy, but it was ours. And one evening, back on that same rooftop where it all began, Adrian held my hand openly. No fear, no shadows. You still think some fires aren't worth it? He asked, smiling softly. I leaned into him, the city glowing around us. No, I think this fire saved me. He kissed me then, slow and certain, and for the first time I didn't feel like an intern or a mistake. I felt like home, because fate had brought me to him, and love refused to let me go. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.